Imagine surviving in the dense jungle, living on roots and leaves. Then one day, a stranger tells you the war ended decades ago. How could a soldier keep fighting against shadows when the world had long been celebrating peace? In Japan, the word Bushido, the way of the warrior, was not just a word. It was blood, it was breath, it was honor itself. A young man named Onoda was born in the early 20th century, raised under iron discipline. From childhood, he was trained to believe the emperor is sacred, duty is absolute, surrender is shame. When Japan entered World War II, Onoda was specially trained for guerrilla warfare. He wasn't just a soldier, but eyes and ears tasked to endure no matter what. His commander's final order: whatever happens, never surrender. Do not return until given official orders. 1944, a small island called Lubang in the Philippines became his stage. The world was exploding, Japan collapsing, the Allies growing stronger, the war nearing its end. Onoda was stationed there with a handful of comrades. They believed the Americans and their allies would land soon, and their mission was to resist at all costs. But history had other plans. Atomic bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrendered. The world rejoiced. The war was over. Yet in Lubang's jungles, Onoda and his men never received that message. They saw only leaflets dropped from the sky declaring, "The war is over." They scoffed, "Enemy trickery, propaganda." Picture the tropical night, the chorus of crickets, the whisper of wind, faint footsteps in the dark. Onoda moved like a shadow. Long days of hunger followed, ambushing local farmers, raiding small convoys, stealing rice and livestock. Every snapped twig could mean death. Sometimes they succeeded, lighting a small fire, sharing brief laughter, convinced they were still part of a great war. Sometimes they failed, and blood stained the soil. Villagers fell, unable to comprehend why the war had never ended. The years stretched on. Decades. Comrades died, surrendered, or were killed one by one, until only Onoda remained, still fighting against a war that had already become a ghost. 1974. Imagine that. Nearly 30 years after the war officially ended. The world had color television. The Beatles had broken up. Neil Armstrong had walked on the moon. Yet Onoda was still in the jungle, armed, waiting for orders. A young Japanese adventurer named Norio Suzuki came searching for Onoda, a panda, and the Yeti. It sounded absurd, but in the jungle of Lubang, he actually found the legendary soldier. Suzuki told him, "The war ended long ago. Come home." Onoda's eyes narrowed. "I am a soldier. I will stop only when my commanding officer gives me the order." And so, the Japanese government tracked down his old commander, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, long retired and working as a bookseller. They brought him to the Philippines, dressed once more in his uniform. Standing in the jungle, he called out, "Onoda, I release you from your duties." Onoda wept. 30 years of war that never existed finally broke upon his face. The hidden truth emerged. In those 3 decades, Onoda had killed more than 30 local villagers, injuring dozens more. To the people of Lubang, he was no hero, but a terrifying ghost. Yet in Japan, he was welcomed as a living legend, a symbol of unwavering dedication. And so the question lingers, was he a hero or a victim? A loyal warrior or a blind machine trapped by doctrine?
Onoda's story is one of loyalty that nearly consumed his humanity. That iron will can be a double-edged sword. It can elevate, or it can destroy. And behind it all, one quote from Onoda himself after his return. "Every man has his own war. The difference is, I never knew when to stop fighting mine." Pause for a few moments. Let the echo of his words settle. Because in the end, perhaps all of us, whether we realize it or not, are still fighting something within ourselves.